Going.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
We're here.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Suzanne.
You know what, Shannon? I don't know.
Suzanne, you know what I think you've become?
And
I don't know her. Yep, that's what we're talking about today.
We are. We're talking
knows.
about the I don't knows, and this really hit both of us because I was telling Shannon, there's so many things that I want to do in my life, but I don't know where I'm going to be 6 months or a year from now. And do you book that trip or do you, make that plan? And so I think it's so hard for a lot of people, especially people with my personality that a little bit of a control freak, that like to control things in her life. And so
you have to do the lipstick off your teeth thing. If you need to be in control, you need to handle that.
Really? I was saving
this is what your friends won't tell you.
I was saving it for later.
We're being genuine. Your friends won't tell you that, but I'm going to tell you.
You will tell me that.
I will tell you that.
That is amazing. I hate when someone has something in their teeth. And
You've
it's
been
like,
on the whole segment.
Do I tell them they have something in
Yes,
their teeth?
tell
But what
them.
if they're not a really good friend of yours?
I had a perfect stranger. Was it they told me or my best friend that I was with? Oh, the waitress told my best friend. You gotta. She goes, I just hate when people don't tell me. And I was like,
I love that.
okay, that's one option.
That's a big I don't know. I didn't know I had food in my teeth and no one told me I was walking around like that all day. All right, back to the topic.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Sorry
We
about
digress.
that.
We're slap happy. It's Sunday. We're tired.
I know.
Okay, so becoming an I don't knower. This is really, as a therapist, I say to people, because this client shows up in my office, they're about 32. Everything in their life so far has been pretty scripted, pretty planned.
Right.
Grew up in Kansas, had a great family. They're still married. Everything's fine. They didn't have any I don't know so far. They wanted to go to Kansas State. They applied. They got in. They went to Kansas State. They graduated. Everything that they pretty much planned, controlled, has worked. They met a great guy at college. They've stayed together. They got married.
They
had a
kids.
baby.
This sounds like my life.
And then they miscarried the baby, or they had a special needs child, or my husband's having an affair the entire time I'm pregnant. They're now going through a divorce. All of a sudden, at some point in life, things start to kind of go off the beaten path, unscheduled, unplanned, not what you expected, and you're left with a pile of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you going to divorce him? I don't know. Should I divorce him? I mean, so all of a sudden, these individuals, which I think is a large majority of society, that have been kind of organized and in control and planning it and doing it and scheduling and doing it. And then all of a sudden, the schedule's gone, the plan's gone, everything goes off the rails, and they don't have any clue. And what's scarier is they don't know how to live there.
Yeah.
And I say to them as kindly as I can,
Right.
this is what I say, it's horrible. I go, welcome to life. This is actually what the next 40 years looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that it's happening like this. This really sucks. This is traumatic. But the funny thing is, we all get different times. Some people lose a parent at 10 and learn about this then. But most of us get about 20, 30 years of, hey, I'm scheduling this.
Copacetic.
Woo!
Right.
And then
You get
life
hit.
really shows you somebody has cancer, somebody dies, there's a divorce, there's a special needs child. Something happens that's out of your control. And then you learn what life really is about, which is, I don't know.
Yeah.
None of us are promised anything. We don't know anything for sure. We say I do and we expect to be married forever, and then we're in divorce court, or you think your husband's a perfect angel and then you find out that he's sleeping with your neighbor. I mean, these things happen, and when they do, they just drop us to our core. They're so devastating, and we don't know quite which direction to go.
Yeah. And I did, when I went through my divorce, I was there, and I'm still kind of there. I feel like, I'm still in a lot of I don't knows in my life.
That's normal.
The hard thing for me is really making those decisions that I know need to be made, but it feels so out of my comfort zone,
Right.
Because I don't know, is this the right decision?
Right.
Is this where I need to go next? And so that is so hard for me. And I don't have a hard time making decisions in life, I don't think. But in this last 5 years, I've really struggled with that.
Yeah.
Like making decisions that you would think would be so easy, but I keep going back and forth on things. Why is that?
Because you started by being so wonderfully vulnerable, saying, I'm a little bit of a control freak. So what you told me about yourself is that you need to know the outcome.
Right. Yeah.
So the past 5 years, you don't know the outcome. So then what you do, what many of us do, is then I call it analysis paralysis. Well, should I put
yes.
well, if I put it here, then I can move it here. And then if I put the money here, then this will happen. Well, I don't know. But what if I do?
Cons.
So we just get paralyzed and spin.
Yes.
My husband calls it that. He looks at me, he's like, you're spinning, right? Because you can see it. Yeah. We're trying to figure out the best way, and we can't know. So then we get in paralysis. So that's when you have to kind of, I say to people, like, this is really good news, even though it feels horrible, because this is when you've basically been going your whole life with a hammer, control, and you've been hitting everything as if it's a nail, because you have a hammer, so everything has to be a nail. But there's a whole lot of other tools in that box, and now we got to fill your box with a screwdriver and a wrench and, pliers, because life can't just all be hammered out. So now you have to learn about, well, what about stepping out in faith? What about trusting the process? What about, what, this feels right today? Maybe I buy the insurance policy on the vacation in case I change my mind in 6 months. It feels right today. I'm going to do it today. But then if I change my mind, I have permission to.
Yeah.
Or that I trust. For me, it's about, my teachers have always taught me a lot about trusting the process. You know what, Shannon, you're right where you're supposed to be. Yeah, but it's so uncomfortable. It's okay. You're right where you're supposed to be. What if I make a mistake?
Yeah, but what if I made a different decision 2 years ago? Would it be right where I was supposed to be?
Well, that's the thing. And this is
that's what I do.
Well, here's what happens is you're forced to come up with a philosophy for living.
Yeah.
I love, one of my favorite people, Heather Carr, has in her office, I think it says, there are no such thing as mistakes, just life lessons. When you don't learn it the first time, it will be repeated. So it's just a life lesson. I agree with that philosophy. The concept is that there are no mistakes. There's just learning curves. And so if I learn something from it, then I can use that in the future, so then I don't have to do the same thing over and over again. But I rarely will say, I can't believe I made that mistake. I really don't believe that there's a mistake, whether it's dating the wrong person or whatever. I'm like, oh, but look what I learned from that person. I gained so much, and that lesson allowed me to choose this person who's so much better for me.
Yeah.
So it really calls you to task with, what do you believe in? What is your philosophy of life? What is your spirituality? What's your value system about choices, making mistakes, having regrets? Do you have regrets, or are you grateful for the lesson?
No, I'm always grateful for the lesson.
Yeah.
But now I see it with my kids. I'm doing this a lot where I, where I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I shouldn't let them do that, or maybe I should, be a better parent in this aspect, So I'm really doing that a lot with my kids, and the I don't know is like, what if they turn out, all messed up and it's all my fault,
It still goes back to the philosophies, because what I would say is, for example, because I was just thinking about this recently, like, what if, with my kids, like, what if I'm doing this wrong, or what if I'm doing that wrong? What that I fall back on is my spiritual principle, my spiritual philosophy is that even if I let them ride with that person, that near accident, but it's not going to be an accident, that there's other forces in place. Like, it's not all up to me making that perfect decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a Saturday Night Live episode that I think of often. It really keeps me calm. It's an episode where there's a husband and wife milling around the kitchen, and their theme is, I still love you after all these years, Edward. I still love you. And he'll go, oh, Susie, I love you after all these years. And so he'll say that, low battery. He'll say that, and then the next thing that happens is a shotgun comes flying out of the cabinet aimed for Susie, and it misses her because she bends down to pick up something off the ground. And basically they're trying to kill each other, but they keep missing. And we still together after all these years. But I think about that. How many times is there a near miss? How many times, that if I just trust my gut, trust the process, it will happen exactly as it's supposed to. And that there will be, my faith tells me, like, it'll be a near miss, or, I don't have to put so much, like, if I do this, I could die. If I make the wrong decision, because that's a terrifying way to live. So I have to put some humor in there and say, trust my gut. Do I feel comfortable doing this right now? Yes. Do I feel comfortable with my kids? Yes. Okay, what is that uncomfortability about? I need to listen to that. Are they in harm's way? I don't think so. I think I'm just not sure on this. Okay, so really getting connected to yourself and then having some faith that things are going to happen the way they're supposed to and that you're not in control of everything. Because the reality is you're not.
And you know what I do too? I love to put like deadlines on things. So if I'm struggling with something and, you know, I could literally be doing that for 6 months where I'm like trying to make a decision about something and I keep going back and forth. Yeah. And I just say to myself, okay, March 1st, I'm going to make a decision. You know, when I start to put deadlines on myself, because this whole I don't know thing sometimes really just paralyzes me.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so putting a deadline on it kind of helps a little bit.
I think that's perfect.
I don't always pay attention to that deadline.
Well, and again, another spiritual principle is, and again, everybody may not agree with this, but a spiritual principle, somebody said to me years ago, so for those of you that believe in prayer or any of that kind of stuff, somebody said to me years ago that prayer is the asking, and imagine a little girl who's pulling on her mother's skirt, like, you know, she's right in front of her mom and she's pulling on the skirt, like, Mom, can I have a cookie? Mom, can I have a cookie? Mom, can I have a cookie? So that's the prayer. And yet the meditation is where the answer is. So if you have difficulty making decisions and you believe in prayer or, you know, that kind of spirituality, so write it all on paper, what you're hoping for, what you're wanting, or get on your knees and pray. This is what I need clarity. I need guidance. This is what I'm wondering. But then you have to release it to the universe. You have to let it go. Because the analysis paralysis is every day. I don't know. Shannon, what do you think? Susie, what do you think? Bonnie, what do you think? And we're spinning and spinning. And we're getting all this new information, which is only making it worse. Because now you're just taking me further away from my gut. Yeah. And now I'm trying to fit into your mold. Stop. Go inside. Say your prayer. Do your journaling. Write about it. Ask for clarity. And then don't let yourself think about it for a week. Do what we call turning it over. And then wait for the answer to come.
You know what I ask for a lot of times is a sign. And you will be surprised at the signs you get as long as you're paying attention, right?
And that's what I love. It's like it will come back to you.
Right. Like for instance, you know, Shannon and I, when we first started this segment, we were doing it here at the house. And what did you notice when you first walked in?
Oh my gosh. I almost fell over. There is a gorgeous, it gives me chills.
Let's turn it around. Can you see my
giraffe?
My giraffe over there? That's
so
my giraffe
there's
picture.
A gorgeous picture of the giraffe. Now here's the thing that's so interesting. When I made a vision board 5 years ago, I think now. I think it's about 5 years ago. Made a vision board and I was doing it all around. My theme that year was money. I was like, I am tired of not having it and I'm going to manifest professionalism, business, money, debt-free, you know, all this great stuff. I did a money tree in the middle. I wrote debt-free. I did all this fun stuff around money and just prosperity and, you know, some silly ones like fine dining or whatever. But everything kind of had a theme. And then I was directing it. And then out of the blue, I had to put a giraffe. And I'm like, why?
Why am I putting a giraffe?
I don't really understand this. It was a picture of the giraffe neck and the face, and I had to have it on there. I'm like, this is so weird. So I just put it on the bottom of my thing. And then I started being curious, so I researched it, and it was talking about the giraffe has a long neck. This is really going to freak you out. I don't know, because I'm making the connection right now. Yeah. And the long neck talks about the future.
Wow.
And the future goals. It's giving me chills as I'm talking about it. And how, you know, that basically to have dreams and to believe and to keep moving forward because things may not happen overnight, but that long neck means things will evolve and create. And so, of course, now I'm putting the two and two together. My whole thing was about prosperity and career and money and moving into new places. And I sit down to do this with Suzanne, and there's the giraffe.
And that giraffe, there's a funny story about why I bought that. Right. So I was with my son was really young. I was pushing him in a running stroller. I was running through Delray Beach. There's a festival in Delray Beach every weekend in season. Yeah. And there was an art festival, and I was running by, had no plans on stopping at this art festival, and was stopped in my tracks by this giraffe. And I've never had never had anything for giraffes. But it literally stopped me in my tracks. I had no money on me, okay? I ran home, got my wallet, and came back and bought that giraffe. I had to have it. I had to have it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it's like one of those, it spoke to me.
Yeah, like it spoke to me.
Yeah.
I had to put it on the vision board. It was not I was like, you have to cut this out. I'm like, why?
So my point is to ask, if you ask for signs, like show me a sign that this is the right thing or that this is what I'm supposed to do. And you will be amazed at the signs that will pop up.
Yes, definitely. You know? And also, even if you're not a woo-woo person, because I know we've kind of moved into the woo-woo side of things. So if you're non-woo-woo.
We always move into the woo-woo.
Focus back in. But even if you're not a woo-woo person, you can't keep giving stimulus to your brain and expect to have clarity.
Right.
So with anything, you have to catch and release. Like think about it, process it, do the pros and cons, and then you have to let it go, take your hands off of it, and just see kind of what comes up for you a week later. Just give yourself time for some clarity, you know?
I mean, I find clarity so often when I'm in yoga and I'm just like, that's my answer. You know, it's so simple.
Yeah,
you know,
it's clear.
It's very clear.
There's an example that I learned from one of my mentors. It's so cool. It's called the muddy jar, and I tell my clients this a lot because it helps me keep perspective. You take a jar, just a glass jar, and clear, and you put mud in it on the bottom of it, and then you fill the top with water, and then you close the lid and you shake it up and you set it down, and tell me if you can see any clarity. There is none. However, leave it there for 3 hours. And when you come back, the top will be clear as day and the bottom will be mud. And that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. Some of us, Suzanne Boyd, shake the muddy jar all day long. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. And we just shake it all day long. We're like, I can't figure it out. You're not going to get any clarity if you're shaking that jar. Put it down, step away, let it go, clear your head, let it settle. You'll come back, it'll be clear as day. Yeah. So I love that.
I love that too. All right, so don't be so, and you know the other thing, this is what I do too, and the I don't knows, is the getting attached to the outcome. Like I always think, it's always funny, I always say to people, you know, whenever I think that I'm going to some event, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be life-changing, and, you know, and it turns out to be not at all expected. You know, and then you just go to some thing that you're just, you know, you're not even excited about, and it turns out to be this life-changing thing. And so I always tell people, just don't be attached to the outcome. Funny quick story, yesterday I took my kids to the Museum of Ice Cream, which is a pop-up museum in Miami. And so we went down there, and I'm thinking, this is going to be amazing. You know, the kids are going to have so much fun. We're going to have so much fun. It was a beautiful day yesterday. The sun was shining. It was like a nice, cool day here in South Florida. We drive to Miami, and literally just over the Museum of Ice Cream is a downpour. Downpour. So we run inside with our umbrella, we get inside, we have fun inside, but then we get out and they spit you out at a different location than where you come in. They made you get rid of your umbrella at the beginning. You couldn't take it inside. We had to run outside, it's still monsooning, run outside all the way around to get the umbrella. Then on the way home, hit traffic on a Saturday at noon from Miami. So I'm just, you know, it's just so funny. And I was like, this is so perfect, because it really shows you that you just you never know what to expect. You have to be okay with the I don't knows.
Well, and as a mom, I know there's a whole nother layer there, because as a mom, and especially a single mom, it's like, okay, I found the perfect thing. It's going to change their life. They're going to love it. We're going to create this experience with them, and they're going to never forget it. And I'm getting the Good Mom Award today. And then it's like, I'm wet. I'm tired. When are we home? I got to go to the bathroom.
Trace was like, my shirt is soaked. He fell asleep on the way home. He was so tired.
It's miserable. So it's fascinating, but what's the antidote for that? Like, I love the expression, trust the process of your life. If you can just be present, those amazing moments get created when you least expect it. You know, trying to think, what just happened with my two kids? Oh, we had an impromptu lunch. Oh, okay, I remember. So it was only 2 days ago. So of course I completely have no recollection. Right. Welcome to 46. But I was getting my hair done, and I drugged my daughter because I wanted time with her the last day. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, let me make sure and reach out to my son. So I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, we're going to be at this restaurant. Do you want to join us? And just totally impromptu, he's like, all right, yeah, cool. Well, just tell me what time. And so he came, and we had 30 minutes together at CR Chicks. it was amazing.
Aw.
They opened up, they were talking, he was like, you know, being connected to me. I mean, it was just the coolest 30 minutes ever.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. And my hair was in like, you know, whatever. And I thought for sure he'd be embarrassed and be like, Mom, please don't stand next to me. Like, you look ridiculous. And it was just a lovely 30 minutes for all of us.
Yeah.
And just who knew or who expected. But if you can just be present in your life and conscious and trust the process. And I had a really strong gut to reach out to him, even though my brain's like, that's so stupid. He's not going to want to come. It's 30 minutes. Your hair is going to be... But I just trusted it. And it was such a special 30 minutes for me, you know? And for both of my kids, you know, they got to see each other, and then they went and got ice cream at their favorite ice cream store that reminded them of their dad. Oh, Daddy used to take us here. I mean, it was just all perfect, but it was unscripted. And I didn't try to be the perfect mom of the year, and it wasn't... So it's just amazing if we can just get present, because I've done a million of those scenarios, and they're all crap shows. They're just all bad. And then as a mom, when they're like, I hated it, and you're like, you're so ungrateful. Oh,
do you know how much that cost me?
It was 2 hours each way and $75.
Well, lesson learned. I should never be driving to Miami on a weekend.
It's like a flashback for me.
That's right. All right, guys. So be okay with the I don't knows. Stay present, and please leave us your comments. We would love to know what you think about our videos, and also if you have any ideas, we are always open. Shannon is a genius.
No.
She is a genius. She can
crazy.
talk about anything. So give her some topics
Help
to talk
us out.
about.
Our brains are getting older by the moment, and we're running out of ideas.
We just don't know.
We don't know. We're not sure what we're going to talk about next time.
That's
we don't
right.
know.
We never know.
We are official I don't knowers.
And that's okay.
Embrace
Well, thank you for watching What Your Friends Won't Tell You, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.